This morning, I did get that calf that was waddling around, kind of stiff-legged. I got him caught. I have a pen set up to catch these cattle, and I got him caught, and I took him to the veterinarian this morning. And the veterinarian was telling me they took a look at his foot and made sure that there's nothing in his foot. And they told me that the veterinarian told me that the calf looks like he probably just got too fat too fast, and he's having a hard time walking around. It's causing problems for his joint is probably what happened. And so that calf, he effectively he's just a real he's got a fat boy waddle. He's got the fat man waddle. He's walking around kind of stiff-legged. And so that's what the veterinarian told me, that he probably just got too fat too fast, and it's just hard on his joints. And so that's what I kind of had a feeling, but I just wanted to make 100% sure, because I just want to make sure that my animals are well taken care of. I had a feeling that either the calf was very lazy or the calf just I didn't think it was a big problem, but I'm glad that I went and got it looked at. They took a look at the bottom of his foot, made sure that there was nothing in his foot, and then they gave him some anti-inflammatory medication. But he's just waddling around like a fat boy, and he's just very lazy, And I actually said that at one point. I think that the calf may just be very lazy. That the calf this just looks like a very lazy calf, and he's always kind of been like that. And that's effectively what's happening, is that he's fat and he's lazy, and he's waddling around like a fat boy. And so, they weighed him on the scale at the vet, and he hit the scale at 715 pounds. And so that's good to know. I can take a look at that animal, and if he's, when he's standing next to the other animals, if he's smaller than the animal, then I know that the animal next to him is more than 715 pounds. And if he's bigger, then I know that the animal next to him is under 715 pounds. So that's one of the cool things about weighing a calf. Like, if you ever take a calf to the market and you come home with your tickets, you come home with your receipt, and that receipt has the weight of the cattle on it, and like my situation, I guess I sold a bunch of heifers, and I sold them a little bit smaller. And so, I guess I don't always sell my biggest animals, but it's just cool to know. It's good to know what your animals weigh on a rough estimate. And that calf, that 715-pound calf, that calf is not my biggest animal. Not by a long shot. I probably got almost 7-8 animals that are bigger than he is. I probably do. Okay, they're already bigger than he is, and maybe about 5 of them are substantially bigger than he is. And so that's good to know. I'm actually thinking that some of my animals may hit the scale here at about 900 pounds. And so, he weighed 715 on the scale. Here in a couple of weeks, I will be getting herbicide figured out. And that other property that I got 45 minutes squared away, I just need to fix the fence and find some good quality hay to leave out for the animals. And I can just take some cattle over there too. But the big idea right now is to expand the herd. I figure I will have, I figure I will have expanded out onto the 125 acres by the end of next month. And I figure that I will have expanded out onto the 200 acres by March of next year, by April of next year. And the whole big idea right now is that I'm growing my business. That's the big idea. Maybe by about January or February of next year, I may actually start pulling the money out of my business and just investing with straight debt. I may start doing that to start pulling some of the capital out of the business, because from now until January, if I just reinvest the money that I make, and here's the thing, even if I sell 5 and buy 15, even if I use a little bit of debt, if I sell 5 and I buy 15, the amount of debt that I have on my balance sheet as a proportion to my equity will still go downwards. Because if I sell 5 animals and I make a profit on those 5 animals, and I make enough money to buy 10 animals, right? I sold 5 animals and I made enough money to buy 10. So I reinvested the profits, and I sold my 5 and I bought the 10 animals. Well, if I take a loan for 5 more animals, I would just be taking a loan against the 5 animals that I made in terms of a net profit. And it's also important to understand that those 5 animals, I still have another 5 animals, right? I sold 5 and I bought 10. And if I leverage against 5 of them, I still have 5 more. And granted that my balance sheet is under 80% leveraged, which will effectively be when if I just sell one set of cattle and I reinvest the money, I will be under 80% leverage, okay? Granted that my balance sheet is under 80% leverage, I just consider all of the money that I make to be mine. I don't worry about paying, oh my God, I gotta, take 2 animals worth of money. I gotta take 3 animals worth of money and put that money to the side. I have to take 5 animals worth of money, for the next 6 months out to the side and leave it in the account and then pay the bank back. I don't worry about that stuff, okay? As long as my balance sheet is under 80% leveraged, I'm not concerned about it, okay? If I sell 5 animals and I make enough money to buy 10, I realistically am looking to take a loan for 10 more. That's the big idea. But why would I do that? Because I sold 5 out of 35 animals, right? I have 35 animals total. I bring them in at about 225 pounds and I raise them to about 850, 900. Right now, they're probably going to hit the scale at about 850, 900. So if I sell them at 850, 900 pounds for every animal that I sell, I will make enough money to buy more than 225 pounders. All right. So, granted that as long as the amount of leverage that I have on my balance sheet is under 80%, then I consider all of the money that I make to be mine on a monthly basis, okay? And I pay the bank their interest, right? I pay the bank interest. So I consider all of the money that I make to be mine, okay? So if I sell 5 animals and I make enough money to buy 10, I don't want to take a loan for 5 more animals. I want to take a loan for 10 animals. And then I would like to take a loan against my balance sheet as well. So, I mean, we're realistically talking about me having to sell 5. And here's the thing. If I sell 5, right, I've been talking about this for the last couple of days. I'm really putting a lot of emphasis on this idea because in terms of making money, you have to understand that, the way it just is what it is, okay? Money's not an opinion. When it comes to making money, I make a lot of money, okay? I actually, and I've always said that the whole thing about, making a lot of money. And, one way to take a look at this, so one of the things that's kind of interesting is that one of the reasons that I believe so heavily in the outcome of humanity, one of the reasons that I believe that humanity it has a lot of potential to do very well, is because I managed to outperform effectively every individual earner I managed to get into the very, 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 very top percentiles of the entire economy. Like into the 0.000000001 percentile of the entire U.S. economy, starting a cattle farm in my backyard, starting a cattle ranch in my backyard. I managed to do that. And, that's one way of looking at there is a lot of things that can be done to improve the current situation, right? I've always said that you don't have to be a twat for your entire life if you don't want to, right? If you don't want to be a twat your entire life, you could be something else other than a twat, right? What's a sign of you're a twat? Like if you're legitimately a useless twat, what is a sign, the big sign? You think that failure is the only outcome. If you legitimately look at the world and you think failure is the only possibility, if you think that failure is the only outcome for you, if you think that failure is the only thing that can possibly happen for you or anybody else, if you look at it like that, if you legitimately think that failure is the only outcome, then that's the big symptom, okay? Other than I fell out of heaven at 7, my life's a magical journey. I mean, there are a lot of symptoms. I fell out of heaven at 7, my life's a magical journey. You have no money. You have a bunch of opinions and you have no money. You think failure is the only outcome. you're a net negative, a lot of things, right? And I've always said you don't have to be a twat your entire life if you don't want to be. All right, and if you legitimately wake up one day and you realize, oh my God, if you, and I've always said, and the whole thing about it, and this is not funny. I'm not saying this to be, funny about it. I'm not saying this as a joke. I'm not saying this as like I'm getting a kick out of it. It's not funny. All right, and it's not a joke. There are, universal repercussions for, having a bunch of useless twats. All right, you cannot end up like, you really don't want to end up in a situation where you become a net negative. All right, the world is unlimited possibilities, right? Like, we could be going to Mars. We could be mining asteroids. We could be going out into space. We could be improving the quality of life for more people. Right, there are a lot of things that we can do. If you take a look at the world for what it is today, there have been many improvements. All of the money in the world would not have bought you an iPhone 50 years ago. All right, if you were born, if you were born 90 years ago, you would have been born into the Great Depression, right? You would have seen World War II. You would have seen the atomic bomb get dropped on people. You would have seen 2 atomic bombs get dropped on people, right? You would have seen Vietnam and Korea. You would have seen the global war on terror. You would have seen the great financial crisis. You would have seen all these things, right? What we're going through right now, it's nothing. It's not some cataclysmic event. Nothing that we have gone, and knock on wood, I don't want to see humanity enter some cataclysmic event, World War III type situation. I don't want to see that. All right. And, I don't want to see some World War III type situation. Who would want to see that? Are you stupid? Right? I mean, do you know how many people are going to die? And also another thing that happened, in I think it was like the late 50s, I think, was the Great Famine, right? I mean, like, it was something, I think it was like 60 million people or something, like, starved to death in 2 years or something like that. It was horrendous. More people died from that than like World War II, I'm pretty sure. I mean, it was horrendous, right? There was like some massive level of starvation in China. Massive level of starvation. I mean, and all of these things, and it's what we're going through right now is nothing. And just to put things in perspective, I legitimately managed to get into the very top percentiles of the entire U.S. economy, starting a cattle ranch in my backyard. That's where we're at. All right, humanity can do a lot better at a lot of things. All right, you don't have to be a moron, loser, tard for the rest of your life if you don't want to be. All right, you don't have to be. I mean, why would you choose to be a moron, tard, loser? Don't tell me why. If that, but there's a very real possibility that that's what's going to happen for a vast majority of you. And and the whole thing about, like, if you ended up on my channel, I mean, I guess there's a reason why you ended up on my channel. And maybe, and I hope, and my thing about, the world is, I don't hope that anybody fails. Granted that you're not doing something horribly malicious. Like, if you're legitimately doing something horrible, like you're gonna go out and you're gonna go into an elementary school and shoot a bunch of kids. Like, if that's what you're gonna do, then yes, I hope you do fail. Not only do I hope you fail, I hope you get kicked in the dick before you get shot in the head. Legitimately, like, if you're gonna do something like that, then I hope you do fail. I don't want you to succeed. But everything else, granted that we're not talking about something horribly immoral, I hope that you do succeed, and I hope you do well for yourself. Granted that at least you're trying to do something good for the world. Going into an elementary school and shooting a bunch of kids that's horrible, right? I hope you do fail if that's what you're looking to do, okay? And my whole thing about it is, like, there's no reason why you can't get to the 10% mark. I show you how I run the cattle business, because the cattle business, from what I have seen, the cattle business is effectively the same as any other business. It's the same thing. You can do the exact same thing with real estate. You can do the exact same thing with starting a business, any other business other than a cattle business, right? The whole idea, and one of the big things that when I take a look at the world, I think that happens is that a lot of people confuse running a business with investing in a business. A lot of people think that running a business is like investing in a company, but it's not. Running a business, and my whole thing about running a business is like, if you're not looking to make the business do better, then you should not be running a business. If you're not looking to get involved with the business to make the business improve and to improve the business, then you should not be running a business. There are a lot of other ways to make money. You should probably take a look at investing in something, and find something that you understand. I actually think that Coca-Cola is at a very good price right now. I think that Coca-Cola is at a very good price, and it's a very good company. The S&P 500 is another stock that it's a good stock. There are many things that you can invest in, okay? And there's a very real possibility if you start a business or if you run a business that you just go bankrupt and lose everything. That's what happens to the majority of people. Either you bankrupt or lose everything, or you barely make enough money to get by. That's what happens to a majority of business owners, okay? Running a business is not some easy thing. And I do very well for myself. And when I say that, I'm not looking to, be like, I'm not looking to brag about it. Okay, God knows I'm not bragging about it. It's just the truth. I do very well for myself, and I figured, from just an objective standpoint, why, if I figured out how to do it, not even that I figured out how to do it. I mean, there are other people that know how to do this stuff. It's just not very many, okay? And so why not show the world how to do it, right? The idea of making assets or making money with equitable assets and stuff like that. Give me I don't think that they're messing with my trailer. The cattle are out sniffing my trailer, and I don't want them ripping at the wires. Sometimes they'll pull on the wires because they get a little interested, and so yeah. I do very well for myself. When you take a look at what I do, I mean, we're effectively talking about, it's from an objective lens, I legitimately managed to do just about better than almost everybody on the entire planet, starting a cattle ranch in my backyard, okay? The amount of money that I make is about to go absolutely bonkers. It's about to go absolutely, it's about to get very interesting. All right, if I sell 5 animals right now, if I sell 5 animals and I buy 10 and I do that for the next 3 months, I would be able to do that without using any debt. And the amount of debt that I have in terms of a proportion to my equity would fall below 30%. And so even if I sold 5 and I bought 15, that would still take my, my equity to debt ratio to almost 70-30. Even if I sold 5 and I bought 20, if I sold 5 and I bought 26, if I sold 5 and I bought 26, but then we also have to think about the idea of time, right? If I sold 5 and I bought 26, I would be appreciating 26 cattle at the same time. I would not be appreciating 5, 10, 15. I'd be appreciating 25, right? And so, and over a course of time, those 25 animals will produce me more returns on my money, right? I'll make more of a return on 25 cattle than I do 10 or 15. And so even then, I mean, the amount of leverage that I have on my balance sheet may legitimately fall to like, still fall under, 40%, 50%. I may, honest to God, I will probably have to take a loan for about maybe 70 cattle by January. 60 or 50, 60, 70 cattle, something like that. It may even be more by January, okay? And you also got to understand that I will have 50, 60 animals worth of my own money as well. And so, and those 50, 60 animals, I'll be selling, I'll still be selling 5 on a monthly basis. In 3 or 4 months, I'll have 10, 15 animals ready to go for market. And so the amount of money that I'm making is going absolutely ballistic. Okay, the amount of money that I'm making is going absolutely ballistic. There's a very real possibility that I end up with about 110, 120 cattle by January or February. Okay, and I do very well for myself. I don't believe in communism. This is something, and when I talk about this stuff, you got to understand that from my perspective, all right, like if I was not given if I did not have an opportunity to do better for myself, why would I go out of my way to do better for myself, right? Why would I? I wouldn't. Nobody would, right? That's the whole idea. Nobody would go out of their way to do better if there was no opportunity to improve yourself, right? If there was legitimately, no possible outcome to, if the people decided, and I've always said, the whole thing about, we can't be in a situation where we're going to have the people decide, because you got to understand that the average person is borderline a complete idiot. Borderline, I guarantee it. You're not having, you did not, do horribly in life because you're a good person. And I put a lot of emphasis on this idea. There is no reason why you cannot get to the 10% mark. No reason. There is no reason why you can't do 10%. If you legitimately, got your head out of your rear end and you started applying yourself, you could find something. And I've always said that you do not have to become a cattleman to get rich. You don't have to become a cattleman to do something good for the world. You don't have to become a cattleman. You don't have to become a cattleman, okay? You don't have to. There are many, like if I was responsible for some kind of a mathematics thing, the world, we would be doomed, right? I mean, everybody is, granted that you're not mentally handicapped, you can effectively learn how to do anything and, find something you're good at, right? Find something you're good at, and then, don't do something malicious, don't steal money, don't come up with some worthless scheme, don't go on a magical journey, find some way to, do something good for the world, right? There are a lot of things that can be done to improve the humanity. I mean, I would be willing to bet that over the next 50 years, we are going to see massive advancements in humanity. Okay, we are going to see massive advancements. All right, and my whole thing, we are going to see massive advancements in humanity. Okay, a lot of people, I think, a lot of people don't think about this, but humanity is going to have, there are going to be massive levels of improvement in humanity over the next 50 years. Okay, and so look to be a part of that. You don't have to be a twat if you don't want to be. If you're in I fell out of heaven a 7, my life's a magical journey, and the only possible outcome is to fail, and failure is the only option. If that's you, then I hope you turn yourself around, okay? I hope you do better for yourself. And you got to understand, and I don't say this to be I don't say this to be a moron, but I don't say this to be a prick. I make a boatload of money. I'm serious. This is about to get very wonky very fast. This is about to get very nutty very fast. This is going to go bonkers very quickly. When I start liquidating my animals and I start reinvesting the capital, the amount of equity that I have on my balance sheet, and I start appreciating those assets, the size of my herd will grow, and the amount of equity that I have is going to go absolutely ballistic very quickly. If I had a Bible, I would put my hand on it. There's a very real possibility, I'm not, my fingers aren't crossed. Okay, my fingers aren't crossed. My fingers aren't crossed. Okay, and my other hand's holding the camera, so that my fingers aren't crossed or anything like that. I'm not making this up. I'm not being a malicious person about it. I'm being straightforward, honest with you about it. I'm just, it just is what it is. I will probably end up with about 100 and I will end up with over 100 cattle is what I reasonably anticipate by February. And if I'm appreciating 100 cattle at a time, if I have 100 cattle, for me to just leverage against the unrealized gains of those 100 cattle, I would have to buy 20 cattle on a monthly basis just to leverage against the unrealized gains. Even if I pulled all of the money out of the business and I only leveraged against the unrealized gains of my cattle herd, I would have to leverage for 20 more animals every single month. And it would be a compounding effect. But I already said I am going to put in as much effort as I can to reinvest all of the money. But according to the business plan, when I invest my own capital, I will be looking to leverage against it. All right, I will be looking to leverage against it. Because when I invest capital into my business, if I make 20 grand, if I make whatever 15 grand and I take that money and I put that money into my business and I buy cattle with it, I don't think about that money as money being spent. I think about that as money being in a savings account, right? And if I legitimately want that money back, I can sell the animal. So I put the money into the savings account effectively. I buy a bunch of cattle with it. I buy commodity type animals at commodity prices. And the basis of the commodity market is the idea that the cattle are worth their weight. Gold is, worth its weight in gold, as they say. A 200-pound commodity animal is worth financially, monetarily less money than an 800-pound commodity animal. Okay? That's the basis of the cattle market. That's the basis of all the commodity market. It doesn't matter if you're in gold. It doesn't matter if you're growing corn. It doesn't matter if you're running cattle. It doesn't matter if you're drilling oil. It doesn't matter if you're whatever, producing fertilizer. It's all the same thing. Okay, 1 bucket of oil is worth monetarily less money than a barrel of oil, right? A 5-gallon bucket of oil is worth monetarily less money than a barrel of oil, right? Commodity, the whole idea is worth its weight in gold. That's the basis of the commodity market, okay? And I am set to make a lot of money. I'm being completely honest about it. I'm not even bragging about it. I'm not whatever, but I'm just being completely straightforward, honest about it. I am about to make, I don't swear, but I would be borderline about to swear. I am about to make a crap ton of money. A legitimate crap ton of money. And, and my whole thing is I'm not gonna, I'm not looking to sell my soul to the devil, okay? I'm not interested in selling my soul to the devil. Keep your deals to yourself. I don't want anything from anybody. Do you understand? I don't want anything from anybody. You're not paying me to do anything. I don't care if you died. I don't know how else to put it. I'm about to make a crap ton of money. Legitimate crap loads of money. Massive piles of it, all right? It's about to get wonky. It's about to get, like, I don't even know, I'm not even concerned about the amount, because it is more than enough for me to legitimately not be concerned about money at all. 0%, all right? I got more important things to think about. I'm about to make a crap ton of money, all right? Legitimate crap loads. Like, it's about to get interesting very quickly. It's going to be a lot of money. I'm serious. And I will start liquidating cattle here in about, I got a lot of rain coming in, maybe in about a week. But, maybe the week after that, I'll start liquidating my animals. I will start reinvesting the money. I will do that over effectively the next 3 months. And it's going to get interesting very quickly. My equity position is going to go up very quickly. I'm only selling 5 out of 35 cattle. I'm going to make a lot of money. And by about February of next year, I would reasonably, I may even have 140 cattle. I will have over 100 cattle by February of next year. sometime around February of next year. And I'm legitimately about to make a crap load of money. A lot. I'm serious. All right, and my whole, it's like if my whole thing about it is, if you're not going to be useful, then at least stay out of the way. Nobody cares about your opinion. Nobody cares about your worthless Disneyland journey. Nobody cares about your kumbaya circle. Nobody cares about you and your buddy pal pals. Nobody cares about, whatever worthless thing, all right? Like, if you have never thought about doing something, positive, legitimately doing something positive for the world other than have your panties in a wad 24/7, then maybe now's your chance to turn yourself around. Because why? If you got your panties in a wad 24/7 about everything and you're not getting anything done, I mean, you're practically, you may even be a net negative, right? I mean, your worthless trials and tribulations. Oh my God, if my grocery bill is too high. Oh my God, my rent is too high. What if you went out and did something for the world and made yourself $2,000 a month? Then all of your problems would vanish, right? I mean, they wouldn't vanish because you're not saving an idiot from themselves. And this is the big moral of the story. If you're an idiot, there is no saving you. That's the big moral of the story. If you got your panties in a wad 24/7, there's no saving you. All right, it's like if you're not even putting in any effort to even attempt to do better, then there's no saving you. All right, it's like a lot of this stuff, you don't need $10 million. Oh my God, what if we just gave everybody more money? Are you retarded? Like, are you legitimately mentally handicapped? If we gave everybody money, there would be massive levels of inflation. Nobody would be able to buy anything. People would be starving on the street. People would be burning the money in piles to keep warm. Keep it to yourself. Go out into the world and do something and earn yourself some money instead of having your panties in a wad 24/7. You don't have to be a twat for the rest of your life. All right, maybe this is your chance to turn yourself around. If we started giving away everybody money, if we started giving away money to everybody, even if it was just like 3 or 4 or 5 grand, there would be such a massive level of inflation. All right, there would be such a massive level of inflation, it would destroy the world economy. People would be starving to death in the street. Money would not buy anything. Even if we gave everybody, even just 10 grand. All right, you cannot give anybody anything. If you don't learn to work for it, if there is no, if you don't think that you have to work for money, right? Like if you don't think you have to do something good for the world to have some money, then, you got to understand, if we started giving everybody money, even if we gave everybody 10 grand, there would be so much inflation. It would cripple the world economy. Even if we gave everybody 10 grand, it would legitimately cripple the world economy. There would be so much inflation, it would be mind-numbing. All right, we cannot just give everybody money. That's not how it works. Even if it's something like 10 grand, we cannot just give everybody 10 grand. There would be a massive amount of inflation. All right, keep it to yourself. All right, I hope, if you're in the situation where your worthless trials and tribulations, you're legitimately having some you got your panties in a wad because you can't buy something that you could easily, if you had $2,000 a month, then you could easily afford it. If that's your situation, then you got to get your priorities straightened out. You got to go out and do and find a way to do better for yourself. All right, don't sit there with your panties in a wad and, oh my God, I can't afford my groceries. Oh my God, I can't afford my rent. Oh my God, I can't afford a car. If you went out and made $2,000 a month extra, you would be able to do all 3 of those things. You could afford your car, you could afford your rent, and you could afford your groceries. Congratulations. All right. And there's no reason why you cannot get to the 10% mark. And when I show you what I'm doing, I am legitimately about to make a crap ton of money. I'm serious. Like, this is not a joke. All right? It's about to be bonkers.